And yeah, let's move on from this prototype and make something even more interesting. So previously we let lightsaber, the hit laser, right? It's not a lightsaber, but sort of a hit laser move around and sort of escape from all sort of yeah, lightsaber and just enter the dark field, become a dark one, and kill the Jedi, right? And then come back to innocent saber, right? And yeah, and of course we even got a sort of force field. So if you enter that force field, you just become pretty quick, and you can, yeah, kill Jedi efficiently. And of course, for those of you guys who support Jedi, and yeah, we need make a little bit functionality for our Jedi, so like Jedi move. So maybe this time I'm going to make another game to tweak this game a little bit to make our Jedi move around and yeah, skip all these obstacles, right? So yeah, so let's try to do that. And of course, remember that the most easiest way of doing things is that you create a new project, because right now it's pretty messy and I don't want to yeah, add more complex things on that. So I'm going to just, because this is just a pretty messy file that I'm going to demonstrate where I record this video. So what I'm going to do is to file and create a new project, right? New project, and of course, I'm going to choose the long-term support version and 2D. Start with 2D, and we can move on to 3D. And within Jamming Game, project name, that will be our Crazy Jedi. Crazy Jedi project, right? And version control, Epivery, yeah. And yeah, just create it. And it would be give us a completely new work field that we can work on, and we can sort of close the previous one and wait for it to create. Well, I think yeah, sometimes they would just say I don't have a permission, which means that I may yeah, got my proxy on, so just switch it off and you can create it. And I'm going to open Unity. Things is importing all the assets. Let me just bring that to you. And yeah, I'm going to pause the video because it's pretty slow, obviously. Alright, so after a few seconds of waiting, we enter our new project, and what I'm going to do is quickly borrow from my previous project, which is here. And there's a quick way of importing asset, is that you just go to your other project, for example 2D tutorial asset, and we got a BG for background, right? So just click and drag, drop, and it's here, right? And we can pretty quickly just drag and drop to your game, and it's pretty quick. And of course you can just make this scale it a little bit. For example 20, and that's pretty good. It's pretty big setting out there. And of course you can borrow all sort of game object. For example, where's our favorite Jedi, and it's there, and drag to the asset, so sort of import that to your new projects. And let's get our Jedi's a good nice lightsaber and laser. Let me import it in case I need it. And yeah, that's it. And of course you can just import that Jedi here, and then you can just move that Jedi around. This is obviously pretty bad layout, so the Jedi obviously is on that underneath it. So what I'm going to do is to change its order in layer. So for example, if I got a 10, it's just coming out. If you just click the background, is 0. If I just move it, you will notice that the Jedi got out. And if I change the order to say 20, and it got down because 20 is bigger than 10, so, or I'm going to got 30 and it's coming out. So yeah, this is a neat trick that you can keep in mind. And of course the Jedi, I'm going to flip it. So what I'm going to do is to flip it, remember? So I'm just going to add a -1, so you sort of just flip it around, and obviously it's a pretty big thing, and I like it. So I'm going to sort of add that create an empty, and I'm going to say this Jedi, the whole Jedi, and this just would be a Jedi body, or maybe just a Jedi, and I can just click and drag, so you just control, just get a sub hierarchy, and then what I'm gonna do is just to add lightsaber here. So, and lightsaber, let me get a 30, and to just make it a whole, right? Just make it so maybe 0.5, 0.5. Just W to move it. Click W, move it here. I think maybe make it a little bit longer to make it a little bit interesting. And yeah, that's pretty badass. E to rotate. Yeah, got it. Right. Maybe that's too long. Let me just get a 6. Okay, so I sort of just fix it on here. So every time I move this Jedi, just yeah, this lightsaber just stick to it. I think maybe rotate a little bit. Tiny touch W, because it's global coordinate. You don't need to worry about anything. Alright, just stick here, and that will be fine. Okay, so we got our Jedi, we got our scene, we got our background. As you can see, this time we got it much quicker than before, because as you learn and we're more and more familiar with this development process, yeah, once you got one knowledge down, you can sort of replicate it and do it much more efficiently, right? And yeah, that's it. And then what I'm going to do is to add a new ground here. So what I'm going to do, yeah, we got a lot of 2D objects, and there is a pretty interesting one called sprite shape. We can get open shape, we can get a closed shape. So open shape is just yeah, as the name suggests, it's sort of opened shape, so it's not closed. It's got some open space that you can enter it. And what I'm going to do is you got a closed shape, because what I'm going to do is to got the ground ready, and yeah, obviously that's a pretty small one. So first thing I'm going to do is to just make it much bigger, and the layer, let me just got it standing out. So yeah, and once you got that, you can yeah, change the shape of it, which is pretty interesting. Like you are, yeah, adding more anchor point to change the shape, and yeah, I think before we change the shape, I need to add some texture on it. So for now, of course, you can just simply change the color, and which is good, but not good enough, because I want the game more have a sort of a consistent layout like the background. So I'm going to change it a little bit. Alright, so here is a good way of changing, rather than just click this closed sprite shape and change the color, because that is the sort of a fundamental thing. I'm going to just keep this color, original default white color, and let me create a sort of a controller here, And once you got that controller, you can just click and drag and drop that to our closed sprite shape, and it would boom have that controller's every attribute in it. And if you want to change it, you can just change that controller, right? So in Unity we call that controller profile, like your profile, right? So you put a certain profile on your LinkedIn, right? And you put a certain profile while you're playing game. So for example, playing Xbox, and you create your own another profile. And of course you can change that to from the professional profile to your gaming profile. So right click, create, and yeah, we got this 2D and sprite shape profile, because we got sprite shape closed, of course, and we can create it. And of course you can say that the name is called, say we are setting this Mars and Mars ground profile, yeah, and let me just name it Mars ground profile. Okay, so essentially just create a second controller that you can control it, right? And once you click it, the inspector here will give you a pretty interesting view. And yeah, so first, for now it does not matter, but will matter in the future. So I'm going to just briefly introduce that for you. And yeah, so basically this is a sort of controller, like you mix up this profile, and you can get all these shapes up and down, left and right, different, yeah, just something different. Okay, and yeah, let's mix up. But before we change that profile, we need to apply this profile first, sort of attach that to our closed sprite shape. So once I change this profile, you can clearly see the difference, and as you can, yeah, you can just change it and see the difference, and change it, see the difference. And yeah, this is a pretty intuitive way of doing things. So if you click it at the inspector panel, you will notice there is a profile here, and it's called a sprite shape profile. This sort of profile that is automatically generated, right? So if you double click it, you will notice that this is not your profile. It's called the sprite shape profile. Under the sprite shape editor, the object menu creation, default asset, and then also of course this is default asset. It's not asset you created. I'm not going to use it and not going to change it, because I'm going to go back to our scene and work on Mars ground profile, right? So click it and click and drag on Mars ground profile, and just click it to replace it. Nothing happened because we haven't set any of the Mars ground profile yet, but now let's change it. So remember that previously I've already shared with you guys that we incorporate artificial intelligence and all sort of AI tool into our developing indie game development process, which is pretty helpful. And of course, I'm going to share with you guys how to use Midjourney to create it. And of course, if you are using the open source, say Stable Diffusion, or sort of a new technology coming out, when you watch this video, it's also fine, right? So I'm going to just say imagine tiles in Unity assets to the game, dark brown, marsh ground, sort of thing, and I've already saved it on this game assets here, right? And then I'm going to use these assets. Of course, I know that the default ratio is not good enough, but let's just use this and check this out, right? Alright, let's play around with it. So if you click this profile, you'll notice there is a sprite called sprite shape edge, and let me just click and drag it here, and whoa, that is definitely pretty messy. Yeah, so but as you guys can see, it's sort of just add a certain layer above our yeah, this is sort of as a ground, and this is sort of the layer added to the ground, but it's a little bit messed up. So I think this Unity already noticed that. So as imported sprite, use a type mesh relate to your rendering artifacts. Please use full React, and that is because we haven't got this image added. But never mind, let's just play this around, right? So first is the direction. I can just move this around, and of course we can get all these corners, the top, the right, and we can get an offset. And for now, I think this is a little bit closer together, so you won't see any of the difference. So let's change that first. So in order to solve that, I'm going to edit original asset. So I'm going to just click here, and let's find this sprite editor, which is right here, and the inspector panel, which means that I'm going to edit this sprite. So if you're using the whole image, which is just a pretty big image, that would be not enough, right? So I'm going to just make it a little smaller, and yeah, let's just make it, drop it down a little bit. I think maybe like this. I don't know whether it will work or not. I just added this, and yeah, I think this window's a little bit small, so I think maybe I'm going to make it much bigger. Let's apply this and check this out. And obviously this does not change it. I think maybe I'm going to solve this as well. So yeah, let's just change the mesh type as well. So alright, sorry, I just found out that this is not because of the tire added spring editor, but rather we need to add this sprite shape here, because we got a huge image imported here, and we sort of need to stretch it out rather than just squish all everything together. So I'm going to choose it and click sprite editor, which means that I can click and drag, so it's sort of a stretch out, and that looks pretty good. So yeah, so we can stretch everything out, stretch this thing out, and let me just get this zoomed out a little bit. So yeah, you sort of see the outline, out layers of it, and yeah, let me just get the background image a little bit bigger, maybe 200. That's much better. And close sprite shape, move it down a little bit, and add a sprite to make it sort of an interesting shape. And of course, some of you may have noticed that you can add an anchor point between the lines. So for example, if I click it, I already add an anchor point, so I can drag this down and I can rotate it, which is pretty awesome. And of course we got another anchor, which is here, and I can rotate it up and add this anchor point and rotate it up, something like that. And yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? And rotate it, something like that. And once you finish, you can exit edit, get it down, something like that. Alright, and then what I can do is to add this profile. For now, it's just got a sprite, and all this field space is still blank. And of course, if you're a lazy person like me, you can just click and drag, right? And just mode set repeat re-import. Oh, I need to set that to repeat. And you can go to this assets, right? And we got warp mode and clamp, and you set that to repeat, and you can clearly import that, apply that, right? So then you can make it feel it, and so like like the Mario's ground, which is interesting. And you can edit still by adding more things. For example, adding one here, drag it, adding one here, drag it, adding one here, up a little bit. Yeah, you can do whatever you like. That's the beauty of it. Maybe add more anchor point and get it up. And I can just make this field up. Yeah, and as you guys can see, it can get pretty versatile. If you want to change anything, they can help you to change it. Yeah, that's basically a customized ground here. If you want to exit it, click it and just exit. Pretty good. And let's bring that Jedi back to the ground. Maybe here. Too small, definitely 50 and 50. Yeah, and we got our Jedi. Pretty good. On the ground. Pretty good. Yeah, and of course, we got lightsaber and Jedi all stick together on the one Jedi object.